Hey everybody, just gonna do a quick little tutorial run through of the material I've been working on. It's pretty complicated, but I'm just gonna cover basic facts and let you just play with the rest, because it's pretty much, a lot of the controls repeat themselves. This is the material. If you want to change stuff and you don't know materials very well, just go ahead and use the instance of the material. It'll save you a lot of headache. So pretty much the way this is all set up is you have a material and then you make a instance of the material, which I have one set up right here. And we'll be using this to edit and change anything we want. And I built this little test level. I got some rocks from some friends and just threw the base texture on there, just so we can get through this pretty quick. And a little scene over here with pillars and a ground that has the texture on these was just the same brick because I got lazy. Alright, let's do this. Let's run through this. So the basics of everything is controlled through this through your instance. You could do it through in the shader, but you're gonna be running in a lot of times of recalculating a lot on your GPU, and you don't want to be doing that. All the different things in here have controls. Like we have snow, grass, water, and wind, and dirt. You can turn these all on and off as you see fit, just so that way you have a little bit better control of everything. And it actually helps helps your GPU because there's not nearly as many renders. One thing to note from up here at the top that's showing right here, this is not an ES2 friendly shader, which means it will not work on mobile devices because it calls more than eight materials. If you want something like this on mobile, you could do that. You would just have to decrease the amount of effects that are handled through it, so you'd only want like 1 or 2 different materials instead of 4 or 6. Alright, let's go ahead and just do this real quick. Let's go ahead and start with snow, because that's a little bit easier to see. Let's go ahead and turn our snow on. One thing that's really important to notice down here at the bottom is every time you redo something on there, it's going to do a recompile. This is important because these on and off switches, like I said a second ago, help control the amount of information that's flowing. So if you don't want to use one, make sure you turn it off, so that way it's a little bit better on your GPU. And like I said, when I had my grass on, it was just calling a little too many texture samples, so that way it wasn't friendly. But now we turn that off, and now we have this one on, and it uses a few less to pull off the effect. So this one is mobile friendly. Alright, the cool things on this is you have control of the fallout right here, which controls how far it goes down and kind of the brightness as it moves down too. Right now I have this set to only affecting the top vertices. After I go over this, I'll show you how to kind of change that. So you can change the amount of the snow and its fall off. Snow actually also has tessellation controls. So let's go ahead and just set this real quick. So just move those up, and now I can control, as I put more snow on there, it tessellates the mesh. The important thing to keep in mind with this tessellation is tessellation can be a little different on each object. So unless you're gonna tweak this for each object you put on, if you're just gonna try to do really quick fast, just go ahead and keep it at 0, which is what we're gonna go ahead and do today, because we have it on like 5 different meshes and we don't want to spend time retessellating it for all that. So as I was saying, we can control the amount of the vertices this is only affecting the vertices on the top, and that's controlled through this wind controls down here. Wind Z is makes it on top vertices only, which is Z is up in Unreal. So if we affect it with Y, we can actually move the snow around, and this actually would move the tessellation as well. And let's say I want it to this side, and now I want it to move to the front, and you can move and see there's nothing on the back here. So that way, if like wind was blowing really heavy against an object, you can control where the wind would affect it. Or if you wanted just this to be on everything, like you just wanted to use this on the ground texture, which I use quite often. And again, it'll recompile. Just forgetting that little bit of information. And now now it affects everything. But we're gonna go ahead and leave wind on, just so that way we can see on these rocks a little better. Wrong one. Alright. is gonna redraw here for a second because we did do some changes before we got back. Alright, there we go. Let's move my snow instance over here so I can work, so I can change things. And so here's our rocks. I'm going to go ahead and in the snow controls move the fallout up, so that way we can see it just a little, so we can see it better. And so that way it's a lot brighter. And a lot of these rocks were given to me by friends. I'll link them, give them some links down below. And with the tessellation, these are all different, so tessellation would affect them all a little bit differently. So it's completely up to you to find the controls on the type of rocks and stuff based on how the verts and how round they are. But there's a little cheaty way that I'll show you in a second how to control that. So let's go ahead and throw some more snow on there so we can see it really well. We don't want to see that hard edge either. There we go. So we're going to use this rock right here, and as you see, if you spin it around a whole bunch of times, it will always have the snow on top, no matter what angle you have it on. And if you use the wind controls, it would move to the side and everything like before. All the controls pretty much work the same, so I'm not going to go super in depth into all of them. I'll go ahead and let you play with them. You have water, which you can kind of see out right now, and you can freeze the water and do pretty much anything you want. But one thing I wanted to go over, we'll turn snow back on just because it's super easy to see, is our painting options. In the material, everything is set up on its own vertex color. So blue is water, green is grass, red is snow, and alpha is actually set up to be its own separate thing. It's actually some vertice offsets. So if you didn't like the automatic tessellation, you could actually. All right, let's go ahead and bring our radius down. So if I wanted to add a little bit more snow on certain sides, I can go through here and I could paint it. And please notice I'm using the red channel with it all the way up. On certain things like grass and water, that if you have that changed, it will kind of change what it paints. Or if we wanted to remove a little bit, we can go through here and just lighten it up a bit. Again, this is all controlled through the shader. So if I set this, it's always, if you want to paint, it's always good to start less, so that way you can add in. Alrighty guys, I was just gonna run through and show you changing a bunch of stuff in just on the instance, because it's a little bit faster and we can change things and move quick. Alright, let's go ahead and turn our snow off. Let's turn our grass on. Let's turn our water off. Let's watch some grass grow. Throw some grass in there. Change them out. Off. We have control over how metallic our grass is. Though I normally don't like to mess with that too terribly much. Alright, grass is great. Let's go ahead and throw some water on top. As you can see the water under it. Throw different amounts of water. And one fun thing is, if you have a lot of water on there, let's put it a little bit more. Actually, let's turn off the grass so we can see the water a little better. You can go here and you can hit ice on and off. Recompile. You can see we have ice now. We can control our ice amounts, so the amount of water that we want to be frozen. And this actually starts looking really good when you have a little bit of ice, you turn the snow back on. Get some snow on top of that ice. Just a little bit. Okay, let's get a little more ice in there. And the cool thing about the ice is it is controlled by how much water is on the scene. So the more water we have, the more ice we can throw in. So we will have a lot more water, so let's throw in a bit more snow. So that way it looks like a kind of a wet and frozen walking area. That was a really quick run through of what this does. If you have any questions or want to see more, go ahead and message me and I'll show you how to use it, and I'll put a download link for the full material on my website. Thanks everybody.